So let's go back to elementary school. Not that anyone really remembers. And right now you guys are more in like senior elementary, not necessarily junior high. Don't ask me why. Just when you guys are in ninth grade, you'll know why. Anyways, so this is how they kind of modeled everything, right? So when you have two numbers right up here, the first factor or number tells you how many groups of the second number that you have. And the second number tells you how much is inside of each group. And then the product, which is the answer to a multiplication problem, tells you how many total you have after figuring that out. All right. So right here at the bottom, they've shown one way to represent three groups of five, which you guys may or may not have seen in elementary. It doesn't really matter. But 3 times 5 like this tells us we got three groups of the 5. And so they've kind of circled those, right? There's a group of 5. There's a group of 5. And there's a group of 5. Three groups of 5. Now just real quick, right here, this is showing as multiplication. That's what they did in elementary as well. That is wrong. From now on, if you show an x as multiplication, just expect to lose points if it were a test. The reason is because x is not an operation. It is a letter. And we'll go over that more later on. But x can't be used anymore as an operation. We're going to use a dot or... Yeah, you can use a little star thing if you want, but a dot's less work for me, so that's what I'm going to use. All right? So that's why right here we would read this as 3 times 5. Of course, we could use a number line, which is what is shown right here. Here's a group of 5. There's 2 groups of 5. Bam, 3 groups of 5. And we end at 15 as long as we start with 0 all the time. And the last way, shown down below, shows us that we got there's 5 groups and 3 groups of 5 like this, and of course they've all been circled. So there's a group of 5, 2 groups of 5, bam, 3 groups of 5. So to figure out the product, we could just count all these, and yes, we would see that we got 15. So let's look at these 3 problems, which may be a little bit different than what you're used to. So here's the first one. Which of the models did you guys like? You guys like that rectangular area model? You guys like the number line or
the group boxes?
the box?
Number line because you can use it for all. I like the groups.
Number line. The groupings. The third one. All right. Well, either way, we'll do this one with the grouping then. So let's go ahead and make ourselves. We got groups of 5, right? 1 group of 5. 2 groups of 5, 3 groups of 5, and these are all negatives, so we'll indicate that they are negatives. Bam, there we go. Here's a group of 5, another group of 5, another group of 5. So, here we've got 3 groups of 5, so that would give us 5, 10, 15, but all of these are negatives. So we got negative 15. So this is B, negative 3 times 5. And again, they're using that x, which they should not. But in any case, how does this one read? Well, let's take a look. Based on this first number here, we got 3 groups. So there's 3 groups of 5. But the negative right here is going to mean something that should sound a little familiar. We don't have negative 3 groups of 5. We have what is considered the opposite of 3 groups of 5. So this is how this reads. The opposite of 3 groups of 5, if we combine the top here, 3 groups of 5, what would that give us? Well, let's look on a number line. Right count. So if you like the number line, so be it. If not, whatever. So there's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's one group of 5. And there's another group of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 10. That's another group of 5. One more group of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're at 15. Right account. There we go. But this says that it's the opposite of 3 groups of 5, right? Because that's 15. So the opposite of positive 15 makes that a negative 15. All right, so that takes us to negative 15, which is right account. So that is our answer. All right, so this one's would read, again, we've got this negative, and this is only for the first number there. If there's a negative there, we're always going to take the opposite of that first one. So we're going to take the opposite of, this is 3 groups, and this is now 3 groups of negative 5. So 3 groups of negative 5, as it turns out, if we combine this, 3 groups of negative 5 would be negative 15. But then we've got to take the opposite of negative 15, which would make that a positive 15. Bam, there we go. So we're going to write the meaning of each of these, and then we'll use the number line to model this garbage, and then we'll do the actual multiplication and find the product. So 2 times 3, what does this mean? Now, this is just the words of what we was doing before. 2 tells us how many groups, so that's 2 groups. And then we got of 3, 2 groups of 3. Bam, just like this. So this is what it means. You'll have to write that on the homework when you guys get there. So let's go ahead and model this now on the number line. So again, we want to start at 0. So let's give ourselves one group of 3. There's 1. And then another group of 3. Bam. Puts us at 6. So we can see that the product is 6. So what about 4? What does this mean? Who can tell us? Yeah?
2 groups of negative 3.
Bam, there you go. Bam. Alright, so on the number line, let's take a look at that. So let's give ourselves first, starting from 0 again, that's our starting point. Let's give ourselves first a group of negative 3. There's one group. And then another group of negative 3. Bam, puts us at negative 6. Very good. Alright, who will tell us the meaning of this one? It's close. Now, if we switch it would. So you can think of it that way. So that's okay. This one specifically, though, the way that it's written would read as what? Yeah, go ahead.
Negative 2 groups or of 3.
Yeah, so you can say negative 2 groups of 3. Just keep in mind that negative is, yeah?
Is it the opposite of 2 groups of 3?
Yeah, that negative is an opposite. So yeah, negative 2 groups, or the opposite of 2 groups of 3. There we go. Yeah, because 2 groups of 3 would give us 6. The opposite of 6 is negative 6. Bam. So even without the model, the number line, we still figured this out. But I still want to show you guys how it works on the number line. Alright, so the way this works on the model is first we're going to do that 2 groups of 3 stuff. So again, starting at 0 right account, we're going to give ourselves one group of 3, 2 groups of 3, which puts us at a positive 6. But then we've got to take the opposite of that, which would take us back over here to negative 6. So negative 6 is the actual answer. Alright, what about this one? Who can tell us number 6? What does this one mean? Yeah?
2 groups, the opposite of 2 groups of negative.
Bam, there you go. Bam, the opposite of 2 groups of negative 3. So how does this work on a number line? So again, on this one, we're going to find 2 groups of negative 3 first. So there's a group of negative 3. There's another group of negative 3, which takes us to this number, negative 6. But yeah, that's good. It says it's the opposite of negative 6, which is going to take us to a positive 6. So this is actually our answer. Positive 6. Alright, for this one, these two, just wants us to model these. We don't have to write down what they mean. So, but knowing what they mean may help us figure out what they are. For example, 11 is two groups of -5 right there. So I'm going to start at 0. I'm going to give myself one group of -5. Bam, another group of -5 puts me at -10. So I've done the model and I found the product. Same with -5 times 2, but this one's the opposite of 5 times 2. So the model, again, will start at 0. I'm going to give myself 5 groups of 2. Actually, let me take that back. So I'm going to give myself one group of 2, 2 groups of 2, 3, 4, 5 groups of 2, which puts me at 10, but we got that negative in the front, which is going to mean it's the opposite of positive 10, which takes us back to -10. So the product is -10. Now, just so you guys understand, when you guys correct the homework, they're going to show a huge rainbow like this. If you want to show that, that's fine. If you don't, you don't have to. Because I just took the opposite of one or the other, and this one represents an opposite. So 12, yeah, let's go ahead and just write it out then. So that's a -5 times 2. So let's identify first that I've got 5 groups of 2, right? But then that negative in the beginning is going to make it the opposite of 5 groups of 2. And there we go. So, well, let's talk about what this means though. Number 7. Yes?
6 groups of negative.
There you go. 6 groups of -3. So, starting at 0, right here, let's go ahead and give ourselves 6 groups of -3. Well, there's one group, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's -18 right here. And again, since this 6 is positive, we don't need to worry about that opposite garbage. Our answer is just -18. All right, number 8 is 6 times 3, which would be 6 groups of 3. So let's see what this one looks like on the number line. One group of 3, 2 groups of 3, 3 groups of 3, 4 groups of 3, 5 groups of 3, bam, 6 groups of 3, 18. So the answer to this one is 18. So this one now is the opposite of 6 groups of -3. So let's give ourselves 6 groups of -3. Bam, there we go. 6 groups of -3. That takes us to -18. But right here in the front, that's going to be the opposite of -18, which is bam, right here, positive 18. Number 10 here is the opposite of 6 groups of 3. So let's give ourselves 6 groups of 3, then we'll find the opposite of these. So 6 groups of 3. There's 6 groups of 3, which takes us to 18, but once again, we need the opposite of that, which would be -18, right here. Bam, nailed it. So again, for these few, we'll just use the number line on this. We don't necessarily need to write down what they mean. Alright, so number 13 here, that's -4 times -3. Let's give ourselves a bigger view. So -4 times -3. What does that mean? Can someone tell us there? Yeah.
The opposite of 4 groups of -3.
Correct. So let's give ourselves first 4 groups of -3, starting at 0. There's one group of -3, 2 groups, 3 groups, 4 groups of -3 puts us at, this is -12. But then, like he said, you're going to take the opposite of that, which puts us over here at a positive 12. And that would be our final answer. Positive 12. How about -4 times 3? How would that, what would that mean? Right there, yeah.
See?
Yep.
No. 4 groups of 3, which is the opposite. So the opposite of 4 groups of 3.
Excellent. Yep, so let's give ourselves 4 groups of 3, and then we'll take the opposite, right? Again, starting at 0. 1, 2, 3, 4 groups of 3 puts us at positive 12. But again, this negative tells us we're going to take the opposite of that, which is at -12. Bam. So 16, this one represents 5 groups of negative 4. So let's, again, starting at 0, there's one group of negative 4, 2 groups of negative 4, 3, 4, 5 groups of negative 4 just takes us directly to negative 20. This 5 right here is positive, so it's not like we're taking the opposite of that negative 20. So that's just our answer. You guys have any questions? Yeah. So 0, by the way, can someone tell us what this means? This one's a little bit different, because we do have that 0 there. Yeah.
0 groups of negative 4.
Bam, there we go. So for this model, we're going to start at 0, right? That's where we'll start. If I have 0 groups of negative 4, I'm going to start at 0, and I have 0. Bam. There you go. Does that make sense? Let's change this though, okay? So we'll still start at 0 no matter what the problem is, but let's make this a 17a just out of curiosity. Let's make this negative 5 times 0. And I used the right multiplication symbol, notice, right? Well, what does this tell us?
5 groups of 0.
Opposite. Yeah, very good. It's the opposite of 5 groups of 0. So let's start by giving ourselves 5 groups of 0. Bam. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups of 0 takes us to 0. That's nice. Well, what's the opposite of 0? 0. Yeah, 0. 0 is neither positive or negative, so the answer here is just still 0 like it was up there. Does that make sense? I mean, if you have 0 groups of something, you still have 0. And if you take any number of groups of 0, you're still at 0. I mean, it looks really pretty right there, though, right? Kind of looks like a flower. I don't know if it smells pretty, though. All right, let's make one up. Let's make this 17a, because I already did a 17 with the other class. 17a, someone give me just one number. Yes?
47.
47. I'm going to trim that down to, well, actually,
24.
let's make it 7 would be nice. Otherwise, drawing it's going to be rough. All right, 7 times 0. Bam. Let's show what this looks like on the number line. There's a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's a negative 7. Anyways, well, what does this mean? Can someone tell us? Yes.
0.
No. Yes.
That is 7 groups of 0.
Bam. So 7 groups of 0. Let's start at 0. That's where we always going to start from. There's one group of 0, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and sure enough, where did we end? Bam, 0. Right, yeah. So 7 groups of 0 would give us a 0. Well, let's switch this around. Someone give me another number. Yes?
5.
Nice. So let's make this 0 times a 5 like these. Okay. So 0 groups of 5. Let's show what this would look like on a number line. 1 and negative 1. We won't need any more than that. All right. 0 groups of 5. Bam. Nailed it. So if you have 0 groups of 5, you just start at 0, and that's where you end. 0. All right, so you guys probably saw something like this in elementary as well. Let's take a closer look. All right, you guys need to copy this down and then fill it out. Yeah, well, some of you guys did in lab, but actually I'm going to skip this garbage. Everyone's going to take a moment and just, this should be very familiar to you guys from 6th grade or whatever grade it was. Fill out this table. You're going to have to make it, though, because it didn't print out on the back of the sheet. That's all right. It only took the other class about 30 seconds. All right, so this is number 5 on the worksheet. Let's start with A. Can someone tell us the opposite of negative 1? Yes? 1. That's a positive 1. I'm going to show the positive just because right now we're really concerned about the signs. Well, if that's the case, then why is 1 times negative 1 equal to negative 1 times 1 equal to negative 1? A true statement. All right, that's very good. So the commutative property definitely is involved, and we could say that the commutative property works. Unfortunately, though, for this class, we haven't covered it. So right now, it's not really, I mean, it's a valid answer, it's just not time appropriate. So, what we want from this is more about what these mean, right? So 1 times negative 1 would mean what? What would that mean, you guys? Yeah.
1 groups of negative 1.
Yeah, right. So right here, I've underlined this in red. That's one group of negative 1. One group of negative 1, right? Which would be negative 1. All right, well, what about the second one? I'm going to underline this in purple. We'll separate these. What does this one mean? Yeah.
The opposite of 1 group of negative 1.
Very good. The opposite of one group of 1. Bam. And from this, what does one group of 1 give us? 1. So what's the opposite of one group of 1? Negative 1. So does that make sense why both of these equal negative 1? We could have written them separately if we wanted to, but it's important for you guys to realize that these two are the same. Well, if that's the case, let's look at C right here. What is the opposite of negative 1? Yeah?
Negative 1?
Is that true?
Yes.
Let's think about this, okay? So let's start first with the opposite of negative 1. What is that?
1.
That's a positive 1 right account, right? Well, now let's include this this opposite garbage. So now we want the opposite of positive 1, which would be negative 1. Bam, nailed it. All right, then let's look at D. Why is negative 1 times negative 1 equal 1 a true statement? So this is the opposite of one group of negative 1, which is a positive 1. That will do. All right, so that should lead us into bigger stuff. All right, so before we move on the worksheet, let's go and take a look at some other problems. And all we want to do is know if the product is positive or negative, okay? All right, let's look at A, whatever the heck that is. You guys give me a number. 12. 12 times
23.
23. Is the answer to this going to be positive or negative? Positive, very good. Give me another number. Negative 2 and 21. All right. Answer positive or negative? Negative, very good. C, 15 and negative 5. Okay, if I multiply these two together, the answer will be a negative. Good. All right, give me another couple numbers.
15, negative 5.
No, we just use those numbers. 17 and
24.
24. We haven't used that one. All right, let's make both these negative. The answer to this one is a positive. Let's go to the E. Give me a number.
25. 42.
18, 42,
125.
and 125. Okay. Let's make these all negatives. All right, so negative 18 times negative 42 times negative 125. Bam. Positive or negative?
Negative.
Positive?
Negative.
Negative? How many guys say positive? A few of you. How many say negative? All right. So on this one, as it turns out, it's kind of that opposite of the opposite garbage. So for example, these two would represent the opposite of 42 groups of negative 125, which would give us, that would produce a positive, right? Well, this negative in front is going to be the opposite of this garbage, which is going to change it into a negative. So the answer to E, the product is a negative. All right, I need 3 more numbers. So we're still just deciding if these are positive or negative, all right? Here is F.
4.
All right. So if I asked you guys to multiply these together, what would the answer be?
6.
Bam, 6, right? Let's change some stuff. All right, now we got some negatives.
Negative 6.
What do you guys think?
It's negative 6.
Positive 6. Negative 6.
-4.
Negative 4. Alright. So this leads us into the next part of this whole thing, alright? If you guys see a lot of multiplication, let's go to G later. Alright? So let's look at, and this is just for multiplication, okay? This does not work for addition or subtraction, which is what some of you guys got mixed up with because your teachers told you this rule stuff. But we're not really concerned about the rules. Multiplication. If I spelt it wrong, I really don't care either. Here's a good way just to figure out if the answer is positive or negative. Because once you know it's positive or negative, then we get to ignore any of the negatives, okay? So you can ask yourself, how many negatives are there? Well, the answer for this problem, we see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them, right? So we got 7. Let's go to the second question. Well, right here, 7, as it turns out, if you didn't know already, is odd. So that leads us to the third part of this. If it is odd, the answer is a negative, but there's a second part to this, because if it's not odd, clearly it's even. If it is even, the answer is a positive, okay? So let's try another one of these. Alright, there we go. Someone tell us if the answer to this will be positive or negative.
Positive.
Positive. Here, why? Why is it going to be positive? Yes?
Negatives, and if it's even, then it's positive.
Excellent. Okay, 8 negatives. 8 is even, so the answer is a positive. What is the actual answer to this, by the way?
21.
Well, you're a little off there, but only a little bit. What's the product between all of these? Now there's 8, right? So we know the answer is going to be positive.
Positive 19.
That's close.
18.
That's close. Yeah. Is your hand up? Yeah, you? Is your hand up? Yeah. It's close.
21.
Yeah?
40.
It's close.
I got 20. Oh, the number is close.
Yeah, well, in comparison to a million, yes. Yeah.
120.
120, there we go. The answer is a positive 120. Well, it's closer to 120 than it is a million. That's why I said it's close. All right, take a moment and solve all 9 of these. All right, if you're still working, just keep working. We'll go and show you guys the answers, though. Will someone tell us the answer to A, please? Yes, you.
16.
Bam, 16. Who will tell us the answer for B? Yes.
-45.
Nailed it. Who will tell us the answer for C? Yes.
-49.
-49er. And the answer for D? Yeah.
15.
Yes, correct. Positive 15, right? Tell us the answer for E? Yeah.
-15.
Very good. And who will tell us the answer for F? Yes.
77.
Very good. And who will tell us the answer for G? That's 4 times -3. Yep.
-12.
-12. And H? Yeah. Nice. And finally I, -6 times -4. Yeah.
34.
Sorry.
34.
That is correct. There we go.
Do we have to show our...
All right, here's 2 more for you guys to try. Now, if you're still working on them, that's fine. Who will tell us the answer for J? Yeah. 0. Nice. And this one's a little different because of all the negatives, right? Who will tell us the answer? Yeah.
16.
Bam. Positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive, right? Because there's an even number of negatives. Take a moment and try these. It's, these 2 as well. Alright, who will tell us the answer for K? Yes. Correct. And who will tell us the answer for N? Yeah.
Positive 30.
Positive 30, very good. Alright, take a moment and try these two then. Alright, again, if you're still working, just keep working. Who will tell us the answer for L? Yeah.
-40.
Excellent. Negative 40. Who will tell us the answer for O? Yeah.
-24.
Bam. Alright, so for these next few, all we're going to do is identify what the operation is. Alright? Because it's important to know how these are written sometimes. Alright, first off, so I'll tell you guys on A, and you guys have already figured this out because we've done some of these, is if we have two numbers next to each other, like this, then it's one number. Okay? Sometimes they'll show the operation between, so 2 times 3, that's different. This does not represent 23, that's 2 times 3. But at the same time, if they have the 2 and then in a 3 in parentheses like this, the operation isn't shown, but does anyone know what operation it is? Yes, you.
Me?
Yeah, you.
Multiplication.
Very good, multiplication. So even though they may not show that, okay, so they probably won't show that garbage. Just know that it is multiplication between the two. So A, what is the operation?
Multiplication.
Multiplication, right? So show multiplication. Bam. B, what is the operation? Multiplication. Alright, C, who will tell us what operation it'd be? Yes? Subtraction. Who will tell us for D? Yes?
Addition?
That's close. Yes? Yep, times or multiplication. That's okay. E?
Subtraction.
Bam, subtraction. Alright, 2 more. F, what's the operation? Who will tell us? Yeah? Subtraction. And then finally G. Yep.
Subtraction.
Nice, subtraction.